Imagine finally taking control of your money, not by guessing or stressing, but by learning exactly how to manage your income, eliminate debt, save with intention, and invest with confidence. Most people want to build wealth, but they try to start at step 4 instead of step 1. Today, you'll learn the real blueprint behind financial mastery, a step-by-step plan that makes everything else easier. Welcome back to Invest Education Hub, your trusted source for learning how to invest smarter and build long-term wealth.
This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions.
All right, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to walk through this blueprint together. First, we'll tackle that feeling of financial overwhelm so many of us know. Then, we dive into the 5 actionable steps: mastering your mindset, creating your plan, saving with real intention, conquering your debt for good, and finally expanding your resources. This is the whole shebang from start to finish. So let's start at square one, that feeling of financial stress. You know what I'm talking about. It's that hamster wheel where the money comes in and poof, it's gone before you know it, leaving you wondering where it all went. That, my friends, is the paycheck to paycheck cycle. And it's not just frustrating, it is mentally exhausting. So what's really going on here? I love this quote from a Reddit user because it's just so brutally honest. This person actually went back and looked at 6 months of their bank statements. They thought the big problem was probably their rent or some other huge bill. But the real culprit? All the little things. The small, unplanned purchases that just fly under the radar but add up to a massive drain on your account. It's the classic death by 1,000 cuts.
And this just drives that point home perfectly. A $15 lunch deal? I mean, on its own, that doesn't sound like it's going to sink your financial ship, right? But when it becomes a daily habit, wow, the numbers just explode. Like this user points out, that's $450 a month on lunch. And that's not even counting the daily $5 coffee, which tacks on another $150 a month. These tiny, consistent leaks are often the real reason the boat is sinking.
So what do we actually call this behavior? Well, it's called impulse buying. And it's not about making a big, well-thought-out purchase. Nope. It's about those split-second decisions where your heart completely overrides your head. You're standing in the checkout line and you grab a pack of gum and a magazine. You see a flash sale online with a countdown timer and you hit buy now without even thinking. It's a behavior that's driven by our feelings, not by a financial plan. And let's be real, there are some powerful psychological forces pushing us in this direction. You make that purchase and boom, you get a little hit of dopamine, a feel-good chemical in your brain. Or maybe you're shopping because you're stressed or bored or a little sad, retail therapy. And marketers, oh, they are masters at this. They use things like limited time offers and social pressure from influencers to get you to click. And with one-click purchasing, it has literally never been easier to spend money without a second thought. Just recognizing your own triggers is a huge first step to taking back control. It's so easy to feel buried by all this, to feel completely snowed in by the financial pressure. But just like you see here, there is always a path out. And that path, it doesn't start with a fancy app or a complicated spreadsheet. It starts with something much, much more powerful, your mindset. And that brings us to the first and honestly the most crucial step in this whole blueprint, mastering your mindset. Because before you can change your bank account, you have to change the way you think about your bank account. It's all about shifting your focus away from what's already done and toward what you can do, starting right now. I absolutely love this quote because it is so liberating. So many of us are just paralyzed by guilt over past money mistakes. We beat ourselves up for the credit card debt or for that one purchase we really regret. But you know what? That's like trying to drive a car forward while staring only in the rearview mirror. It's impossible. You can't change the past, so the best thing you can do is let it go. We're aiming for a zero judgment zone here. This is the core of that mindset shift. It's about looking forward to a clear path, not getting tangled up in the regrets of the past. Think of a budget not as a prison designed to punish you, but as a blueprint for a future with less stress and more freedom. It's about creating opportunities, not dwelling on failures. Okay, so with that positive, forward-looking mindset locked in, we can move on to the practical stuff. It's time to build your personal budget, your actual financial plan. This is where we turn all those good intentions into concrete action. And look, the process itself is surprisingly simple. Seriously, step 1, you just look. You figure out exactly how much money is coming in after taxes each month. Then you look back at your last few months of spending to see where it's all been going. Step 2, you create the actual budget. This is where you decide, on purpose, where you want your money to go. And step 3, you track it. You keep an eye on things to make sure you're sticking to the plan, and you make adjustments as you go. It's a living document, not a one-and-done thing. Now, if creating a budget from scratch feels a little intimidating, here is a fantastic place to start: the 50-30-20 rule. It's a super simple framework. The idea is that 50% of your take-home pay goes to your absolute needs, things like rent, utilities, insurance, essential groceries. Then 30% is for your wants, dining out, hobbies, that Netflix subscription, and the last 20%, and this is crucial, goes directly to savings and paying down debt. Now remember, this is a guideline, not a strict law. You can totally tweak these percentages to fit your life and your goals. And this is why creating a budget is such an eye-opening exercise. It forces you to see the true impact of those small daily money leaks. I mean, look at this chart. A $5 coffee seems like nothing, right? But when you see it through the lens of a budget, you realize it's a $150 a month habit. And over a year, that's almost $2,000. Seeing it laid out like this makes you ask a really important question. Is this daily coffee really worth $1,800 to me? Or could I use that money for something much bigger?
So once you've found those leaks in your financial boat, the big question is, how do you actually stop them? How do you break the habit of impulse spending that created them in the first place?
Well, here are some proven strategies that actually work. A huge one is the 24-hour rule. For any purchase that isn't an absolute necessity, just wait a day. You will be amazed how often that "I have to have it" feeling just evaporates. Another great one, unsubscribe from all those tempting marketing emails. Just get the temptation out of your inbox. But my favorite might be this one: calculate the hours worked cost. Before you buy that $100 gadget, ask yourself, is this thing really worth the 5 or 6 hours of my life I had to trade to earn this money? That question alone can totally change your relationship with spending. Okay, let's pause for a second. If this blueprint is already giving you some clarity and you're finding these practical steps helpful, do me a quick favor and hit the like button. It's a small click for you, but it tells us we're on the right track and helps other people find this guide. All right, let's move on to what you do with the money you've just freed up. So once you've created your budget and you've started to plug those leaks, you're gonna find something amazing happens. You have extra money at the end of the month. Step 3 is all about giving that newfound money a specific job. This is where we start saving with intention to build a rock-solid financial foundation. The first, most important, non-negotiable job for your savings is to build an emergency fund. Because life happens, right? Cars break down, the water heater explodes, people lose their jobs. Your emergency fund is your shield against all that chaos. The goal here is to have enough cash set aside to cover 4 to 6 months of your essential living expenses. This is your financial safety net. It's what lets you handle a crisis without immediately going into debt. Once your emergency fund is looking healthy, then you can start saving for the big, exciting stuff, like a down payment on a house. Your budget is what transforms that massive, scary number from an impossible dream into a totally manageable monthly goal. All of a sudden, $25,000 isn't an unclimbable mountain, it's just a series of small, consistent steps you're taking every single month. It turns someday into a when. And then there's the biggest long-term goal of them all, retirement. I know it can feel like it's a million miles away, especially when you're younger, but it is so important to start early. Why? 2 words: compound interest. It's basically magic, but it's real. Your money starts earning its own money. The interest you earn starts earning its own interest, creating this incredible snowball effect over time. That's why even tiny contributions early in your career can grow into huge sums of money decades down the road. So just to recap, it's helpful to think of your savings in these 3 distinct buckets. Your emergency fund is for the unexpected what-ifs. Your large purchase fund is for your big planned life goals. And your retirement fund is for your long-term security. Each one has a different job and a different timeline, and a healthy financial plan makes room for all 3.
Okay, let's talk about a major turning point in anyone's financial journey: conquering debt. Paying down debt is one of the most powerful things you can possibly do for your finances. Think about it. Every single dollar you're no longer sending to a credit card company in interest is a dollar you can put toward your own future. This is what true financial freedom is all about.
When it comes to tackling multiple debts, there are 2 main, very powerful strategies. The first is called the debt snowball. With this one, you throw all your extra money at your smallest debt first. no matter what the interest rate is. Once that's gone, you take that whole payment and snowball it onto the next smallest debt. The other method is the debt avalanche. Here, you focus all your firepower on the debt with the highest interest rate first. Mathematically, this method will save you the most money in interest over time. This image illustrates the difference perfectly. The snowball method is all about psychology. When you pay off that first small debt really quickly, you get a quick win. It feels amazing, and it gives you the motivation and momentum to keep going. The avalanche method, on the other hand, is pure math. It attacks the most expensive, most damaging debt first, which is the most efficient way to save money. So it's kind of like heart versus head. Now, let's see how this actually plays out with some real numbers. In this hypothetical scenario, if you use the avalanche method, you'd start with that high 20% interest loan. You'd end up paying about $45,000 in total interest, and you'd be debt-free in about 9 years. Now, with the snowball method, you'd start with the smallest loan, the one with the low 3% interest rate. You'd end up paying about $51,000 in interest. That's almost $6,000 more, and it would take you a full year longer. The math is pretty clear. The avalanche saves you more money. But, and this is a really big but, the math isn't the only thing that matters. Personal finances are, well, personal. The best method isn't the one that looks best on a spreadsheet. It's the one you will actually stick with, month after month. If you're the kind of person who needs those early psychological wins to stay motivated, the snowball is a fantastic choice for you. If you're driven by pure logic and efficiency, then the avalanche is the way to go. The key is to pick one and commit. All right, we've talked a lot about managing the money you already have. We've talked about budgeting, saving, and paying off debt. That's all about playing fantastic financial defense. Now, it's time to talk about playing offense. Step 5 is all about expanding your resources and looking at the other side of the financial equation. Just think about it for a second. There is a hard limit to how much you can cut your expenses, right? You can only cut down so far. But your potential to earn more money, that ceiling is much, much higher. Gaining control of your spending is the foundation, but the next level of financial power comes from growing your income. And this can mean a whole bunch of different things. It could mean turning a hobby you love into a little side business. It can mean investing in yourself by getting a certification that qualifies you for a promotion at work. Or, and this is one of the most direct ways, it can mean confidently negotiating for the salary you actually deserve. So many people leave thousands of dollars on the table just because they're afraid to ask. Now this right here, this is pure gold. This is an actual script for a salary negotiation from Stanford's Career Education Center. Let's just break down why this is so brilliant. It starts with, based on my research. That shows you've done your homework. You didn't just pull a number out of thin air. It then connects your request directly to your experience. And finally, it ends by focusing on the value you bring to the company. It's confident, it's professional, and it frames the whole conversation as a win-win. This is how you ask for what you're worth. As we start to wrap up this blueprint, it's so important to remember this. Gaining financial control, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. There are going to be good months and there are going to be bad months. You might have some setbacks. The key isn't to be perfect. The key is to be consistent. It's all about making those small, smart choices day after day that build on each other over time. And let's end with this fantastic piece of wisdom. Budgeting isn't a test that you can pass or fail. It's a practice, just like meditating or going to the gym. Every time you do it, you get a little bit better, a little more in tune with your finances. The benefits build on each other slowly, creating this foundation of financial peace and confidence that will serve you for the rest of your life. Starting your financial journey doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs to be consistent. If this video helped you, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And if you're ready to take the next step, check out our next video about building long-term wealth the smart way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, here on Invest Education Hub, where we turn learning into lasting wealth.